everyone had a fantastic weekend. Today is Parkinson's awareness, and it's not Parkinson's Awareness Day. There's a huge celebration and call for awareness on April the 11th annually. I was able to manage to hit that last year on this day, but April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. So if you're not aware, people with Parkinson's struggle with a lot of the same things everybody else does, poor balance, declining strength. A lot of times you're not dealing with just one thing either. So today I wanted to talk about just some things that you can use your plate for both managing your symptoms and, just to improve your condition as a whole. It looks like I am live on the other end. If you are joining me today, before I get started quickly, if someone could tell me if they see and hear me okay on your end. I'm going to ramble a little less. This is the third time that I've done a Parkinson's awareness session, but I did want to offer today, because I have done a number of sessions, a post I did last week in the VIP group, which is a recap. It's a Google document where you can access all of the sessions that I've ever done for Life Pro on the VIP page, as well as on YouTube. If perhaps you don't have access to that group, if you're watching me today, you should join. But I just want everyone to have access to that. A lot of times I get questions about, have you done a session for this, or have you done a session for that? Or, sometimes there's ideas just in looking at this sheet I forgot I even did sessions on. So I just wanted to offer that to you. That's a recap of all the sessions that I've done for Life Pro. It's a live document. So I'm going to, as we move forward, today's session will be added next week, so on and so forth. So if you, instead of having to struggle looking through the page, the VIP group is awesome. And it's probably the one place where most of the live videos are at. But the way that Facebook sets up a group, you don't see the title, and you got to go into the video and then you got to back out. So this just helps you understand what each one is about. And I'm going to get, if everyone can see and hear me okay, somebody just let me know if give me a thumbs up, let me know where you're joining me from. And I'm also curious, I'm going to get to questions at the end of today's routine. Today is very short, very purposeful. And again, I am identifying with symptoms of Parkinson's, but more so, symptoms can be universal. I've said that in a number of my sessions. Maybe you're dealing with poor balance, or maybe you're dealing with tremors. Stability is an issue. There's lots of different reasons symptoms present themselves. Thank you for letting me know you're from Purvis. Hello, welcome. And a lot of what I'm doing today could be equally effective if you have poor balance and you're dealing with bone density, or maybe you have poor balance and stability and you're dealing with MS. So a lot of what I want to talk about today is symptom management. And if you can get those symptoms underway using your vibration plate and be comfortable with using it to manage your day-to-day symptoms as they come up throughout the course of the day. This isn't a cookie cutter 10-minute workout. It's, I need to improve my balance because I'm going out for dinner with my kids, or I'm just really lacking energy today. There's lots of ways you can use your plate if you're dealing with Parkinson's, or perhaps you're caring for someone with these types of symptoms, to facilitate a better day throughout the day. But you can also use this as, maybe a warm up to other exercises or therapies that you're doing as well. So hopefully the goal is, if I nag you enough and you stay consistent with these simple little things, you can progress to do more exercises, more activity outside of the four walls. And, there's many ways you can turn your situation around. We know the benefits of exercise. So if you are dealing with Parkinson's, I very highly doubt it that your doctor or your therapist has said, no, you shouldn't exercise more. More often than not, yes, you should be more active. Where the plate comes in my explanation, it is an environment that makes the exercise or the moves easier to perform. If you're dealing with Parkinson's, you may be also dealing with some arthritis or some heart and stroke. You're usually not dealing with one thing if your body is presenting symptoms of poor health. I hope that makes sense. So, to the plate today, I was doing some machine testing this weekend for the lovely folks at Life Pro, Mr. Joel. And I had my 4D out, my Rumblex Plus model. I haven't used it in a long time. There's big sirens going on outside. Sorry for the noise if you're hearing that in the background. I usually use the mini because a lot of times I'm moving things around, and I always try to use a plate that most of you can identify with. And not everyone uses the 4Ds. My coaching, as always, today is going to be an oscillating movement for a couple of reasons. When you're dealing with a condition like Parkinson's, or you're coming from a place of not being terribly active, that's probably why you're looking for health solutions. Oscillating is the most functional movement. There's different movement types. There's lots of different machines, but they all kind of fall within a couple categories of movement. Oscillating is the most natural feeling. It mimics how we walk across the floor, but with much less impact. But for today's purpose, the main reason oscillating brings such an advantage for so many conditions is it's the balance and stability king. You're standing on something that's forcing your body to stabilize itself while you're standing. So even just basic standing or even seated use, if you're not terribly mobile, dealing with pain, not ready to stand on it yet, is going to improve your balance within the course of one session. So it's very important. I'm using today also the Aeroflex step as a tool. If you are dealing with poor mobility, you're prone to falls, sometimes stepping up 6 inches off the ground onto something that's moving may as well be Mount Everest going through an earthquake. There's a lot of you not using your plates or not using them regularly because you're scared of it. I want to get you past the fear thing today. There's many ways you can use it until you feel comfortable and stable enough to stand on it. A little caffeine jolt. So today, yes, we are working an oscillating movement. Oh, I've got my power cords all over. We're going to start. Our first few exercises are going to be seated on a stool. I'm going to grab this here. I want you to do what you can. Don't push yourself if you are not able. I certainly don't want you going longer than you normally would, because I do tend to rabble for those of you that have joined me for a session. And I want you, if you're a new user or if you're using this specifically for Parkinson's because you have balance and stability issues, everybody thinks starting slow means slow speed. I prefer to use the term start conservatively. Now, on a Roblox model with 60 speeds, I would like you starting in the 20 to 30 range. I always use ranges because I don't want you guys mixing up your speeds from week to week. Many of you are looking for an exact frequency or number. There's lots of studies out there for Parkinson's, but it's not just mimicking the setting on the machine. It's the durations. Most of these times when you're doing studies, you're going somewhere for 2 to 3 times a week. When you have a plate at home, you can really ramp up the benefits because you can do this whenever you feel you need a fix. Managing symptoms, as far as I'm concerned, you can use the plate as often as you like. Just keep your durations short. You're managing symptoms, not doing a workout here. So for the first minute, I just want you sitting on your stool with your feet on the plate. If you're dealing with other symptoms like neuropathy, swelling, things like that, it would be nice to kind of get the feet and the foundation of your standing positions warmed up. And it gives you a bit of an idea of what that mid-speed feels like if you haven't played with it yet or you've been too fearful. I would also like you to keep your feet no more than hip width apart. Always think functional. Many of you think that standing wider with your feet or positioning your feet wider because it shakes you more must be giving you more benefit, but that's false. If you look at the markers on most of your plates where it says running, do you run often? Do you run for 10 to 15 minutes full out now? No, that's the reason many of you are using a vibration plate. So wider means more movement. More movement of the plate moves you further. And to get to these mid speeds comfortably with chronic conditions, you're not going to like your feet wide with the speeds that I suggest. I want mid to faster speeds because they're smoother. They're less choppy. We're trying to improve your balance, not challenge it yet, if that makes sense. So 1 minute to 2 seated. The next variation I'd like you to do is to add a little upper body while you're seated. For those of you that can't join me for the standing stuff, you can do a variation of sitting and putting your elbows or your hands. I prefer my elbows on my knees. If at this point by adding the upper body it feels like too strong, it's too much action, you're in control. Bring the feet closer. For this position, we're going to add another additional minute. So 1 to 2 minutes total, whether you're just sitting or elbows on. This is just a variation if you do want to get a little bit more upper body into the neck and the shoulders. And just have a nice straight spine. Maybe do some neck circles, whatever you normally do if you carry tension in these areas. I think you'll find if you keep a nice straight arm with connection to the knee, you're not going to really feel it in the head. A lot of people think this is shaking the heck out of my head. If you move back a bit, it's a bit more, but you're going to feel this primarily in the shoulders and the neck. Okay, so 1 to 2 minutes, that's our warm up. If you're unable to stand for long periods, I wouldn't recommend pushing yourself in the next part of the routine. We're going to do what many of you have probably done at the physical therapy office called a sit to stand. So many of you, again, think functionally, look like this when you're getting up out of your chair, okay? So I want you to squat. I want you to get stronger legs. I want to do all that, but we can target the same muscle groups by going from a seated to a standing position. And all you're going to do is stand up. We're going to keep those knees slightly bent, and then we're going to sit back down. Okay? If that is too scary for you and you don't feel stable enough, perhaps put another chair or stool in front of you. But I would love to see 3 to 4 really slow. Try using your legs as much as you can. If you physically cannot stand yourself up without using the assistance of your arms, that's okay. You can use them. But try and encourage using your legs as much as possible. Okay? If the sitting back down is too scary for you, maybe something to practice on the ground, not on the machine. But this is a very common exercise that many of your therapists and care providers are already having you do. By doing it on the machine, not only do we reduce the amount of time we have to spend doing the exercises, but we ramp up and get all these side benefits, the balance, the better circulation, the lymph, all of that stuff, doing the same exercise in the environment of the plate, okay? So for those of you that are comfortable with the sit to stand, the next variation I want you to do is a sit to stand to squat, okay? So we're going to stand up. We're going to keep those knees slightly bent. For the squat, I want a nice straight torso, and I want you getting ready to sit back down in that chair, but you're not going to. You're just going to go to whatever your low point is. You want to make sure those heels are planted. If you're feeling it a lot in the shins or the knees, you've done this. The body, to make it easier, will shift the weight forward to the balls of the feet. Keep those heels planted, okay? And hold until you can't hold no more. And if you want to push yourself by going a little bit further, the nice thing about having the chair there is if you go too low and you've overcommitted, you can just sit back down in the chair. It's a safety thing too, okay? So for that one, stand, squat. I would love to see you holding this for a good solid 5 to 10 seconds. If you're pushing yourself for your range of motion and you haven't been doing squats now, that should be adequate. And then stand yourself back up. If you're comfortable doing this exercise and would prefer not to do the sitting and the standing, you could just do a few reps of the squat, hold, 2. The whole point is to cut. You'll notice your durations get shorter as you get more tired, but I'd love to get about a minute to a minute and a half total doing this, and you should be pooped out. For that one, that's more of an exercise. We're pushing our our body parts to fatigue. You don't need to do that one every day, but if you do suffer from things like restless leg, muscle spasms, muscle pain, maybe you're dealing with MS or something else, doing just a single squat is an awesome way to fire up those larger muscle groups in the glutes and the quads for relief. The difference would be you're only doing it for 30 seconds to a minute instead of multiple reps where we're going to fatigue. So the big difference is symptom management versus fitness gains, okay? You're going to get the symptom management regardless if you're doing the fitness stuff, but if you're just looking for symptom management, I want you to keep it minimal because I want to reserve your energy levels. I don't want to deplete your energy that you do have. The next one we're going to do is a little bit more wind, a little bit more cardio. So for this one, we're going to do some very simple step ups. Again, think functional. Sometimes throughout the course of your day, the worst thing is the stairs, going up them, going down them. Especially, even though you're dealing with Parkinson's, balance, whatever those issues may be. Sometimes, as I said, you're also dealing with arthritis, or maybe you've got a knee replacement that you're waiting for. So step ups on a vibration plate are exactly like they sound. We're going to keep the knees bent when we're stepping up. Maybe have some tunes going, a nice slow beat. If you feel comfortable and this is not scary, you want a little bit more cardio, let's say, pick up your pace. Okay? If this is something that's really scary and you're feeling wobbly all over the place, again, maybe have a stool to offer you just something. A lot of times you don't really need something to hang on to. It's a mental thing, but this might be a better option for you, okay? If you find the stepping backwards off the machine is too scary for you, I've got the step here in front of me, okay? So we've got the Aeroflex step here. Maybe you have something equivalent. If the stepping back down is a little fearful, or I've had falls and mentally I just don't trust myself yet, you could do this variation. So you're all at ground level. You can still see the plate, right? You're not stepping downhill. This is just another variation, okay? If this is too scary. Okay, modify where you need for where you are right now. Do what you can. And really a lot of it, guys, boils down to what you're willing to do. I can give you all the moves. I can give you all the tips, but I can't make you do it. Everyday use, even if you're just using your plate to move and feel better, to get the balance going, to get some circulation, you are going to feel better. You're going to start noticing improvement in how you function. And it's simply the nature of doing a little bit of time daily, if you can, on this machine. One last one I wanted to show you. So on the step ups, a minute, maybe two, if your conditioning is there. What it really boils down to on this little routine I went over today is, are you looking at doing this just as a feel good symptom management thing, or are you looking at fitness? If you're looking at fitness gains, I want to get stronger, you want to make sure you're doing that squat and ideally pushing to fatigue, but you just do that piece once a day. So the next one is a little bit of a recovery at the end, standing. I'm going to leave my chair this way. So instead of moving my machine around today, this one speed range that I'm doing throughout this whole routine is going to be the same. We're going to go with a mid speed. If you are dealing with like spinal issues, and you got bad back, bad hips, things like that, I want to target the low back and the hips for a couple of reasons. In a recovery situation, recovering from the squats and things that we just did. But many of you, if you're in a recovery situation or you deal with fatigue, you're weak, you tend to sit a lot. So this whole area gets like stiff, loses flexibility. So my favorite low back one is your just knees are just unlocked, and this is one that you can do standing, and you can use your chair back to give yourself a little something to hang on to. And we're just going to bend over to like a 45-degree angle. And if you find it's too aggressive, like if you are dealing with issues, bring the feet closer. But you're going to feel from going like a position like this to something like this, all of a sudden you're changing your angles a bit. And the vibration is now being directed to that low back and the hips. And I love to just stand here. And you can swing, you can do some little cat-cow movements, whatever sort of feels good. But this is a good way to recover, get you any weight-bearing activity where you're standing on this machine is affecting your bone health, improving it. So if squats or standing are just not your cup of tea, or you've had enough of that part of the routine, this is a good way to end it. And I would spend another maybe minute doing this. So we're maybe looking at a total of 5 to 6 minutes. If you got a little bit more range of motion, you want to get a little deeper into this one, it really depends on you. There's some really good stretching you can do with the use of a chair without having to get down on the ground or being able to touch your toes or anything. And again, so I would do that for a minute. And again, with any of the positions that I did today, You could do them as a short routine for 4 to 5 minutes on its own. Or if there's 1 or 2 exercises that resonated with you that might help you, symptom management throughout the day, the balance, swelling, pain, energy. Sometimes all you need is a couple of minutes. And it's a much easier way to incorporate additional activity into your day. The bone health, the strength, all of these things will kind of come naturally longer term. They're longer term benefits. But if you can use your plate consistently, regularly, every day for a couple of minutes, I guarantee you within a couple of weeks, you're going to be feeling much more fabulous. I didn't put this on the agenda today, but one thing I did want to mention, because Life Pro just keeps coming out with more and more and more tools, is light therapy. I have my my big panel. Oh, it's hooked to the wall, so you probably can't see it. But I have my big light therapy panel, the Bio Heal, hooked up on a little frame. Let's see if I can show you a quick picture of that. I was showing this off last week. You can see I've got it mounted there by my shelf above the plates there. So I'm finding more and more. I love some of the ideas that come up in the VIP group, especially because I don't have all the ideas. I've been doing this a long time, and I certainly have an opinion like any woman. But some of you guys have just the simplest ideas. And I think when you're dealing with things like Parkinson's or stroke recovery or any of these conditions where you're not dealing with the same body physically that you were before, the simpler you can keep some of your therapies, not only does it help with the motivation, but if you can start moving and feeling better quicker, it motivates you to stick with it and get other benefits later on. So the red light therapy is a really good tool if you have red light therapy or you've been considering something. I love using light therapy for my clients that are very, very below baseline, where even perhaps a vibration machine or they're limited to seated use for a period of time where I just want to get more benefit. Incorporating red light therapy with your sessions is great. You can also incorporate it just into your day-to-day, maybe on a side table, maybe beside you in bed at night. It's going to boost your mitochondria function. That's the powerhouse of your cells. It's going to help them do their job better, perform whatever the job is, whether it's fixing your body, helping you sleep, helping you poop, digest, whatever. And there is the thing with light therapy is it's just such a huge, massive topic. And there's so many tangents of research going on. But I'm seeing more and more about it supporting nerve function, which can help, of course, reduce pain. Inflammation is another great thing that red light and infrared can assist you with. And if you're looking at weight loss, where, activity or your ability to do lots of it is limited, maybe you're in a situation where you just can't bear weight for long periods. Of course, infrared, looking at some of the sauna blankets or the saunas themselves are another fabulous tool, not only for weight loss. I tend to lean towards the sauna as a good suggestion that way, but they're awesome for detoxification, joint pain, arthritis, all these things that are just more symptoms of being inactive or managing a condition. When your body's dealing with a lot of pain, sometimes other symptoms present themselves just as that how our body compensates to manage with these things. So I hope that makes sense. I dropped my Google Doc, which has all of my workouts. I believe we still have a review contest going on this week for $1,000 Visa gift card and a spanking new Life Pro t-shirt. So I'm going to drop the link for that as well, just in case if you have purchased anything with Life Pro and haven't gotten around to that review, you can go into the link and it'll direct you as to how you get entries. You can get more than one entry depending on how you share your review. So go in and take a look at that. And the winners are always drawn and announced, usually in a live with Amber, and there's posts in the VIP group. If you're not a member of the VIP group, why not? Please sign up for that and make sure that you're getting access to the best support. Myself, Amber, and Roseanne are trainers. Every trainer has their own path of how to cross the finish line based on our own disciplines and preferences. My expertise happens to be in the vibration machines. So I want to teach you that it can be a half hour, 3/4 of an hour thing, as some of you like to use it. But I don't want that to deter those of you that are dealing with chronic conditions. I want you to be realistic in what you are willing to do. And, 3 to 5 minutes a couple times a day for most people with chronic conditions is much more possible than a half-hour spin class at the gym or something, that seems like work, if you will. So those are just my tips for today. If you are dealing with someone in the household that has Parkinson's, or you're dealing with it yourself, it is not a death sentence. There are so many things that you can do to improve your situation, and it's probably a little bit easier to focus on the symptoms. They are unique. I could line up 100 of my clients with Parkinson's, and they're all very different people in where they're coming from, the type of body they're starting with, their level of health, the symptoms they're dealing with. So it's certainly not a universal thing like anything, but some of these tips may help you improve your day. It's not about replacing everything else that you're doing, but getting you back to those activities that you love and hopefully can thrive in again. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you guys next week for something fabulous on Monday again, I'm sure. Don't work too hard, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks for joining me today, guys.